For better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and cherish, until we are parted by death. This is my soul. In the name of God, I am willing to be my husband, to have and to hold, from this day forward, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, until we are parted by death. This is my solemn vow. Now the readers. Bless, O Lord, these rings, these signs of the vows by which this man and this woman have bound themselves to each other through Jesus Christ our Lord. Emily, I give you this ring. As a symbol of my vow. And with all that I am, and all that I have, I honor you. David, I give you this ring. As a symbol of my vow. And with all that I am, and all that I have, I honor you. And now that David and Emily have given themselves to each other by solemn vows of the joining of hands and the giving and receiving of rings, I pronounce that they are husband and wife in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Those whom God has joined, let no one put asunder. Kiss the bride.
That's so ridiculous. Where'd you get the sword from?
From the restaurant.
Right. Yeah, topping it up.
Are you cutting this alone?
Get stuck into it, man.
It's more symbolic than anything.
Get in. Cut us a slice, Dave.
Straight through the macaroon.
Let me,
He does the little face.
so can I say first and foremost, thanks to the bridesmaids for helping Emily over the past few weeks. We both know how rushed it's been supporting the wedding, organising the bridal shower, or whatever you called it in the end. So if we could all raise the glasses to the bridesmaids.
To the bridesmaids. Right, so then it's one ting.
I'll do a ching.
Ting and a ting.
Ching and ching to you, my love.
And the best man, Lee, it wouldn't have been the same without you. I love you dearly. A round of applause for Lee and a toast to him, please.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
The next toast has to go to Anne and Andy as well for travelling so far. So keep your glasses in your hands. Please raise it to them. You are getting pissed in my speech if I've got to do this. And then to the rest of our friends, thanks for travelling 30 minutes. Toast to yourselves.
Go on the green.
Now, I'm really grateful you all came so you can share this special day with Emily and I. I'd like to say a little about Anne and Andy now. The Zoom calls made our first few meetings easier over the pandemic. First nerves of meeting you both in person were quite high, but easily quashed with how welcoming you both were, how much interest you both paid to me, the questions you had about me, what I did for a living. Certainly, your whiskey selection made it a hell of a lot easier for me. Yeah?
What you did for a living? What you did for a living?
No, honestly, I know it means the world to my wife, Emily, that you're here. I can't say anything more than thank you for coming. I cherish you both dearly and thank you for letting me into your family. Now, what can I say about Emily that you don't already know? She's considerate, caring, compassionate and loving all at the same time. So since this isn't exactly how we planned our wedding, I thought I'd share the story of how we first met, or how we met, and our relationship over the course of the past couple of years. Date one, let's just not talk about that, we were both nervous wrecks, weren't we?
Well, that's a good sign.
Unbelievably, after tomfoolery on the first date, we met for a second date. Em took us for a walk at Blue Waters whilst we were both incredibly hungover. We walked over to JBR. My nerves were already getting the better of me and people around me after having a few pints the night before. Still undeterred, Emily took me to a Mexican place for a meal. We ordered our food, and out of nowhere, a mariachi band started right behind me. 4 guys on these guitars sprung out of nowhere. They went into a rendition of the Mexicana. I bolted up out my seat just as soon as my feet had come. Said to Emily, I said, "I'm sorry, I can't eat any more of this. I need to get out of here." Correct my speech. Anyway, we went for another drink afterwards, and Emily was still trying to make sure I was okay. I remember thinking, if I can be this fidgety and annoying around her, she must really like me. We met again for our third date, and I couldn't believe this lady was still so into me. She was somebody who listened to every word I said, understood and computed, and then gave her own opinion in a completely loving and understanding way. It was this date, so early on, that I thought this girl might be the one for me. From that date, we met again and again. We did all the nice things like you'd expect, met for drinks, foods, had to go to comedy shows with Charlotte, went to the movies, and I knew deep down then that I'd found somebody that I loved. Soon after these dates, we made a trip to Abu Dhabi so that Emily could meet Lee and Lucy. We had a roaring 2 days to get to know Emily. Little did we know when I returned to this trip afterwards, we'd get locked down. I must give the most credit to Emily at this point, since I was still quite new, and whilst I was living in a hotel, she invited me to live with her and give us a chance under the strict instruction that I needed to leave should it not work. And that's when I thought, that's when I thought more than anything, to be fair, what a beautifully strong woman, and that she must trust her own judgments and also trust me at the same time. Coming out of lockdown and many games of Connect 4 and Monopoly on the balcony, we really could not have been stronger as we continued to live together. I gradually met a Franz. I gradually met a friend.
Go on, the
Siobhan
front.
at first, and that was a fucking baptism of fire, wasn't it?
How many pints did you have before?
I told you we were a fair game today, didn't I? No, seriously, it was the first proper human contact, I think, after lockdown, with me and Siobhan. And what a laugh it was, what more can I say? It's one of Emily's friends, it felt so easy, I was nervous, but how welcome he made me feel. It was great. Over the coming months, I got introduced to everyone else and loved how welcome you all made me feel. So to all the other friends, toasts, you get 2 toasts in this speech, I want to get out.
Hey!
Hey!
Sure, Siobhan.
So then this year, I got to see how Emily would meet my friends and family at home, and I could not be more proud of saying how much I love this girl to them. Em met my friends at home at a meal that was hectic. She handled herself more than perfectly, and everyone loved her. She didn't love me after we went out to watch Manchester United Liverpool the day after. But no, seriously, that's about 2 years summed up in about 2 minutes, I think. So the final pause about my darling wife will be that Emily pushes me to do everything slightly better each day. I wake up, she always gives me the confidence and belief I can do anything that I want to do without any fear of failure or disappointment. I feel ultimately blessed to have met somebody who makes me feel so loved, valued and cherished every day. So my final toast must go to Emily.
Emily.
To Emily.
Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Cheers.
Now it's got to be, still whilst master of ceremony, over to the best man. If he's got something wrote, but I probably hope he doesn't have anything wrote.
Well, no, you know, Andy has said, you know, he was shocked by this speech. David had cards, and what I'm going to pull out now feels almost like an A3 book, you know. I felt as if I was unprepared, but here we are. Listen,
Card cost in Abu Dhabi.
Yaslink's paper. Get your worth out the company. Get your worth out the... Listen, ladies and gentlemen, look, fantastic to be able to be sharing today David and Emily's wedding day with you all here. For those of you who don't know, I know you all will know, but I am David's brother, and I'm going to try and make this speech the opposite of David's golf game, which has been labelled by Els Club's members as messy, long and tiring. So, some of you may or may not know, but David used to work offshore in the UK for quite a long time, and in all honesty struggled with a consistent external life balance, right? 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. It's very, very, very difficult, and we've had many conversations about this, and he took the leap of faith. He moved over here in January 2020, and not long after, he met Emily, and as they all say, the rest is history. I want to say, before I go any further, Emily, you look beautiful, and I would like to raise a glass to you. You look stunning, fantastic day. To Emily, of course. To Emily.
Emily.
Dave, you really hit the jackpot. Emily, you've got my permission to give him as much grief and bust his balls as much as you want for the rest of your life, of course. As we know, COVID times arrived in March, April 2020, and at this moment, David and Emily's adventure really did begin. They shared lockdown together and a strong relationship was born. Emily, how you put up with David, practicing his golf swing indoors, and barking and moaning about how bad Manchester United are, I really don't know, but bravo once again. No, but seriously, the first time I knew David was going to ask Emily to marry him, one day he texted me and he said, "How did you know Lucy was the one, my gorgeous wife next to me?" And of course my response was, you know, you just know, you can't get away from this feeling. It's unexplainable, and as I say, you just can't get away from it. Now, I could tell the effect that Emily had on David, because this was the first mature question in 31 years of being brothers he'd asked me. The normal question is which horse or nag to back at the bookies, or it was a question with so much expletives in it. It's obviously, I can't mention that here, but here we are today. As I mentioned, I'd keep this short and sweet, okay? Emily, I'm sure David will agree, you have made him a better man. You give him confidence, freedom, love and joy. I wish you the happiest life together. David, I love you. You have found somebody very, very special. Take care of her and cherish her every day. To the both of you, I wish you health and happiness, and of course, the best family life possible in the very near future. I would like to now raise the glass, all of you, to David and Emily. David and Emily. Thank you.
Go on, Anne.
I haven't actually written anything, because I found out quite late that I was meant to be writing a speech.
I tried to avoid it as well.
My fault, apparently.
And then Dave and I had a gentleman's agreement that we weren't going to do speeches. So I feel
Dave's
a
not
little
a
bit screwed
gentleman,
over. But otherwise, Emily, Dave, I am probably the proudest person here right now. It's been a really special day. Dave, you can leave the cameras at the door and I'll take them back with you later. Thank you for taking off my hands. It's appreciated. You guys met just before the pandemic hit. You moved in together. You're still together. You've managed to live with Emily. Which
Emily's
is no
managed to
mean
live with
feat.
Dave.
That in itself is worth a drink.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
You make a lovely couple. It's been a wonderful day, and I'm going to leave it there. So, a toast to Emily and Dave.
Emily and
Emily and Dave. Cheers.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
I've got a really small little bit of paper, which, because I haven't got my glasses, is totally useless to me. It was supposed to be a few prompts, but yeah, I can't read them really. But I'll hold it over there. It was just more about, I just wanted to talk a little bit about Emily with, you know.
You're already going.
I know.
Oh, mommy.
Well, first of all, excuses if I cough during the speech. It's got nothing to do with COVID. It's just being a grandparent. And I'm not used to speeches. I never stand up and give a speech ever, because we always leave that to Emily because she's so good at it. And if you didn't know already, one of her first jobs in the Middle East, when in her first day in her job, in her second job in Bahrain, I think it was to write a speech for the King of Spain. So she's far more adept to this kind of thing than me.
Yeah, I think so.
But if you know, from Emily as a child, as I remember her, you know, is always studious, very studious. All the teachers always said she's such a studious girl. And but what I always remember, Dave, is going around in her skates, reading a book. The only girl I knew that would just go around in her roller skates with a book in front of her. That's what she was like. And her favourite book was Great Expectations. Not many 8-year-olds read Great Expectations. And she always said, it was always a thing that if ever I saw a different copy of it, I had to buy it for her. So she just had so many Great Expectation copies. And that's what she was like as a young girl. She was, but not geeky, because she could stand her ground and she could fight those boys. No worry about that. There was no backing down. But I know it's not like involving everybody else. It's just kind of giving a little bit of a background to this very special woman that you're marrying today. That when she was 8 years old, she turned around to me and she said, "Mum, when I grow up, I want to go to grammar school and I want to go to university." Now, for near Council Street housing estate, this was, not the norm. This was, just didn't happen. And the school she was in no one went to grammar school. But as fate would have it, we moved away. And I chose a school where 22% of the children got into the grammar school. So Emily worked really hard and she got into that grammar school through pure determination. And if you know RM, which I know you do because you're a Dubai family, as you call, you'll know that this is a very strong, independent woman.
Ferocious.
And when she makes her mind up, she makes her mind up. So, Great Expectations indeed, Dave. I still can't read this, but I'll look at it and pretend I can. So she got into grammar school, obviously, because she worked hard and she's studious. And she...
First tears today, Mum.
And she met a lovely group of girls, and they're all still friends in the UK, a UK family, so like you're a Dubai family. And she went off to university. She went to university, living her dream. You know, this is her plan, after all. Yeah. And she got her degree, and then she stayed on and did her masters. I think she would have just stayed there personally. She was quite an academic, really. I think she just wanted to stay there. Then she turned to me and she said, "Okay, I got to grammar school, I went to uni. What am I going to do now, Mum? I haven't got a plan." And I'm like, "Well, what do you want to do?" "Well, she always say, what do you want to do?" She said, "I want to travel, I want to teach. English is a foreign language, this is what I want to do, this is my dream." And together, we made that happen. So I'm very proud of my daughter and what she's achieved. And we've always talked about, like, when I meet the right person and settle down and get married, because she's always wanted to get married and have children and family and that. And she hadn't had a lot of luck with that, and she said, "But I'll let you know when I meet the right one. You'll know, Mum, I'll tell you, this is the one." And when she met you, Dave, she texted me and said, "I've met him, this is the one." Yeah? So if you're ever unsure of any plan, just ask this woman, darling. Yeah. So, bye, Rag. All the best.
Cheers,
All the happiness in the world.
Cheers.
Cheers, Andy. Cheers, Andy.
I found a love for me. Darling, just dive right in, follow my lead. Well, I found a girl, beautiful and sweet. Well, I never knew you were the someone waiting for me. 'Cause we were just kids when we fell in love, not knowing what it was. I will not give you up this time. Darling, just kiss me slow. Your heart is all I own, and in your eyes you're holding mine. Baby, I'm dancing in the dark with you between my arms, barefoot on the grass, listening to our favorite song. When you said you looked a mess, I whispered underneath my breath, but you heard it. Darling, you look perfect tonight. Well, I found a woman stronger than anyone I know. She shares my dreams. I hope that someday I'll share her home.